Hey there. I hope you can see me. I'm trying a new setup. I tried a new microphone and I couldn't get it to work. So I'm going to do some more research on how to figure this out. Anyway, welcome to Bloom and Wander. I wanted to talk today about why having a single job isn't enough anymore. If I can get my cat to leave me alone while I'm filming this, she wants to be included. So you might see her, you might not. Anyway, back to topic at hand. Why is one job, one paycheck not enough anymore? We've all seen since the pandemic, especially, the prices of everything have just skyrocketed. The rent has gone crazy. I remember when I was living in a city about 6 months ago, my rent almost doubled from the fall of 2020 till the spring of this year. So, and that's in a small Midwestern city. I can only imagine what it's like on the coasts. For me personally, I don't want one paycheck. I want multiple streams of income that brings more security, the ability to scale it up to a business rather than just relying on an employer or relying on one paycheck to get everything done anymore. So, how do we find this? Well, actually, let me back up a little bit. So, for as far as careers go in my life, I've been working in education for, let's see, since 2015. Um, Most of that time has been here in the US, but a lot of that time prior to the pandemic was overseas, China specifically. Um, so after COVID, after 2020, everything kind of changed for a lot of us. So I continued to work in education, but I also continued to look for something else that was going to provide a little bit more stability. Went back to school, worked in counseling for a while, kind of got burnout on that. Did some more human services stuff, some casework, case management stuff. Um, and then I came back to education. Um, and during that time too, I held other part-time jobs just to I used to live off the philosophy of having one job that paid your bills and the other one to build your savings. But more and more as the years pass, now everything goes to paying my bills because the prices of everything has doubled, like I said. So after 40 plus years, this is kind of starting to wear at me and my body can't keep up anymore. I do have chronic illness. I have MS. So I just don't have the energy that I had when I was 20, 25 that I can keep up that pace with everything. So, let's see. What was I going to say? Oh, so yeah, I've changed directions in my life more than once. A lot of times I've just taken a job just to get by, just to pay the bills, like a lot of people do. Um, Overall, though, I've learned the one thing that I am able to control is like how much money I'm spending. So I read something a while back that was a good kind of summed it up pretty well. It was like, is it easier for you to earn more money or is it easier for you just to cut back on what you're spending? And the obvious answer for most of us is just to cut back on what we're spending. When we do examine how much we spend on extra things, comforts, that does add up over time. And I'm not saying we have to, completely live ascetic lives like monks in a cave or whatever, but if you find yourself providing too many comfort items to yourself and spending all your money on that, it's easy to see how the money disappears pretty quickly. And it's important too to examine why are we doing that? Is it because we're so unhappy that we're looking for the little bits of happiness that we can, whether it's fast food or, nights out or um, I don't know, extra things for the kids that we wouldn't be buying necessarily if we had the happiness that we're looking for. Um, and I always like the idea of spending money. Sorry, I always like the idea of spending money more on experiences than things anyway, which is something that I I miss about living overseas because every day was an experience, and I didn't really have to spend very much money, but the cost of living is different. So that's another story. So yeah, the economy changes and companies change, but overall, human beings are kind of the same throughout time. It's like we want to justify the little niceties, the little treat yourself moments that over time they do add up, and we need to be honest with ourselves and ask ourselves, what are we really after? Are we after, a future where we have the independence and financial freedom that we talk about, or are we after like the fun in the moment? It's like with anything, with weight loss. That's a good analogy. If every day is a treat day, every meal is a treat meal, then you can see over time that you're not going to lose weight as fast as if you just treated yourself once a month, or every time you reach a big goal that you set for yourself. So instead of asking ourselves what is the perfect job, we can start to ask ourselves, how can I create new ways of earning income? So some of the ways that I have created income for myself, I've always loved writing. I started writing for other people for money, 2008, I think, 2007, 2008. Um, yeah, that was when the big stock market crash thing was, and I lost my job. So yeah, since then I've done writing here and there. I've written articles. I've written ghostwritten books. I've written web copy for people. And now over time with AI, companies and people are finding that it's a lot more cost effective just to use the AI. I remember I first got accused of using AI. I think it was like 2019, maybe it was 2020. I don't know. It's been a while, like long before I really didn't quite understand what AI was, and the fact that why people would use it. Um, and now it's like commonplace where people just automatically think that it's AI if it's some simple web copy or whatever. Um, so it's a lot harder for freelancers, I think, to make a living like that. If you had a big business established prior to this, maybe you could still do it. And I do hear that some have managed to hold on to their clients over time, when they're doing like copywriting and stuff like that. But to go out and try and do it, it's just not worth my time and energy, honestly. I've written books, for myself and sold several of those, and that's great. I love doing that. I've written fiction and nonfiction, and done pretty well with it. And I'm able to earn, anywhere from 50 to 200 or 300 a month doing that. And it's nice because it does pay, like my phone bill, it pays gas in my car and stuff, but it's not enough that it would, completely pay all my bills and be able to support me doing just that. The school jobs, um, I like subbing because I can set my own schedule. If I have a doctor's appointment, or I want to take a 3-day weekend and go see my daughter or something like that, I can do that on a sub schedule. The downside is I live in a very, very rural part of the Midwest, and um, there's not a lot of jobs to be had at one district. So you kind of have to travel between districts, and that's a lot of driving. It's, I mean, you can get it to where, you're a regular at one or two and maybe 40 minutes from home to um, the school. But then, twice a day, that's 80 minutes, 90 minutes. So it does add up, especially if you're doing that 5 days a week. But it does pay well. And, when you kind of exhaust yourself at one place, you can go to another district. Right now, I have 4 districts that I bounce back and forth between. Um, and it's good for now. I mean, I would like a little something more long term, but then again, I don't have the flexibility when I do something like that. So it is what it is, I guess, as they say. Let's see, writing books, invest. Oh, yeah, the freelance work. I've done a lot of freelance writing. I don't do it so much anymore. It's an overcrowded field, like I said, and AI has kind of taken over a lot of it, so it's just not really worth my time. Investing. I do have a lot of investments in, well, small investments in little places like my Roth IRA. I have, um, yeah, index funds. I have what's called a REIT, which is a real estate investment trust, where it's like a group of people get into one investment, um, and that does earn some. Over time, I would like to expand definitely how much I'm investing, and then also expand into like real estate and property management stuff, because I think that would be good long term, especially because the need for rentals is just out of control right now. There's just not enough rentals in the town I'm in. Excuse me, one minute, I got to take a drink. In the town I'm in, there are waiting lists for apartments. There's waiting lists for houses. The town over, the same story. It's just, I think it's like that everywhere. I think it's just a sign of the times. Um, so yeah, what is this about? This isn't about just like hustle culture. That's been kind of pushed on us for the past decade or so, like having a side hustle. I don't believe in, here. I don't believe in having a side hustle because I think that's, just a way of kind of monetizing your hobbies. I don't agree with that necessarily. I mean, if that brings you joy, great. But for me, like my hobbies are my hobbies. My hobbies are something I do to escape from, you know, work and the demands of living. I don't want to monetize that stuff. Um, I don't like the idea of someone having to work a 9 to 5 job and work, 40, 50 hours a week, and it's just not enough. And you have to work on the weekends as well. That's a really depressing thought. Um, that's a good way to burn yourself out quickly. So my idea for myself is building those income streams that I have multiple sources coming in so I don't burn myself out as quickly. Um, Also having things that I can do into retirement as my body, starts to slow down. Um, and as time passes, maybe one thing drops away like the freelancing, but you still have these 3 or 4 other things that are bringing in the income. So you're not, if something bottom falls out, you're not desperate. You're not living in your car. An analogy I heard a couple weeks ago sums it up for me, I think. So basically, I don't want to eat the chicken. I want to live off the eggs. And that's what it's about. It's about having multiple eggs, multiple streams of income, so you can live the life that you wanted to live and have that freedom still. Eventually, your flock will support your life. So also, I've started up my notary business again. Um, I will do some like mobile notary stuff. It is wear and tear on the car, but it does pay a lot better than um, if you're signing like loan documents of that. It pays a lot better than even working at the school does. Hopefully that will pick up a lot more, but right now the real estate market is kind of garbage, so it might take some time. So I don't know exactly where like even this YouTube channel is going to be in 5 years. I've been wanting to start this up for probably a decade now, and I just never did it, but I finally decided to go for it and see what happens with it. I don't know which of my income streams is going to become the biggest, um, or what is going to have to be retooled until it fits what I'm looking for. Um, but yeah, my goal is, I mean, even if something earns $100 a month, that's $100 I didn't have yesterday. So every little bit helps, and I can kind of be my own scientist and do my own research and see what's going to work for me and tweak it until something finally does. Yeah. So that's what income freedom looks like for me, and having multiple streams of income looks like for me. I'd like to hear your thoughts on that. Like, what income streams are you exploring? What's working for you? What isn't? Um, what are your thoughts on um, the idea of like the hustle culture that I'm trying to get away from? How do you intend to make the rent payments, the mortgage payments into your retirement? How are you making them now? Anyway, share your thoughts with me. I'd love to hear what you're thinking. Like, comment, subscribe as always, and I will see you soon. And until then, bloom, wander, and I'm out.